is a great pleasure to be here and to have opportunity to moderate this panel entitled Business Case for Investments in Renewables, Opportunities and Challenges. Anyhow, I wanted to start with challenges because there are a lot of challenges for the region and globally regarding renewables and energy transition. However, we will start with possibilities because you will talk a little bit about innovations. So you are coming from Plug and Play, and I would like to hear about Energy Accelerator program where you consistently work with new startups, new ideas, new innovations, and initiatives. So can you tell us what's going on in the field of energy sector? So what are new exciting startups and ideas that you are especially passionate about? Are there some game changer for the future in the field of sustainability?
Firstly, thank you so much. Wonderful question. So I'll take it even a step back on that because for us, we operate in Plug and Play across 23 different industry sectors, energy being, of course, a key component. And today we have people who are much more knowledgeable and experienced in the energy space. So I'm going to discuss this as a technologist, as a venture capitalist. So the pretense to what we do as Plug and Play as investors is we say we like to support entrepreneurs everywhere, and that's 100% our mandate, our mantra. But more fundamentally than that is to enable and support the concept of human prosperity, because innovation enables the continuous development and enhancement of human prosperity and enhanced quality of life. And when you even dig deeper into innovation, one of the key components that drives innovation, that enables this concept of human prosperity to further scale, is the precipitous of energy itself, access and scalable energy usage. So today when we talk about the new forms of energy or access to energy in the market, we have to look at it from a double innuendo. On one hand, when we look at these new solutions, when it comes to electrification, when it comes to ammonium, when it comes to mining, optimization, when it comes to even smart grids, to renewable energies, I mean, there's not a single solution in replacing more traditional energy streams. It's a multitude. And we even have a joke that where renewable energies take hold is where electrification dies, because at some point there are these new energy formats that we need to dig into deeper and deeper. But from our personal portfolio perspective, we need to always ensure the new kind of energy or energy let's say alternatives that we invest are also corporate or business or let's say society friendly, where they do not hinder human prosperity, keeping in mind that we are not sacrificing from what is in the best interests of our end consumers, from their livelihoods to them being able to conduct their day-to-day activities in a more seamless format. So we always have to prioritize our investments to be in a well balance of what can augment the current, let's say, paradigms of how we produce, distribute, sell energy. And one of these major solutions we work with is Amobia. It's a portfolio company of ours that works and addresses ammonium in a much more, let's say, ESG-friendly format, whereby they're able to leverage the development and release of ammonium through hydrogen and air, as opposed to the 500 million, I believe, metric tons of CO2 that's currently released whenever ammonium is mined annually. And then number two, another great solution that reflects kind of our drive to further continue supporting the concept of, let's say, human prosperity, is mining as an industry typically consumes 4 to 7, or emits 4 to 7% of the greenhouse gases annually. So especially in today where commodities and tools are incredibly important in the markets today, how can we further optimize and enhance and augment in corporations, organizations' capabilities to mine in the most productive manner, such that they can gain access and provide these commodities to, let's say, various vicinities of the manufacturing cycle, to further augment human life, human prosperity, without hindering the supply chain or the distribution channels. So another startup we invested in is a company by the name of Terra AI, where they leverage artificial intelligence, our favorite buzzword today, to basically pre-detect where mineral deposits could be found, and in doing so, reducing the amount of time, resources, and machinery needed to drill out to find and identify these solutions. They're already scaling, I believe, in 2-3 geographies that are not disclosed yet, but this is another major solution that is empowering and enabling, let's say, energy optimization in the market today for us.
Okay, and what's going on with the regulatory framework? Is there a gap between regulation and all these new ideas and in fact, need for innovation? Because without innovations, appropriate innovation in sustainability and green, that would be impossible to reach goals for 2050.
So on this one, I'll keep it more brief because regulation is a double-edged sword, in my opinion, seeing it as where, in one hand, it is needed, of course, because it helps create parameters that protects the interests of the stakeholders, the consumers, the general public. But in certain instances, when I look at, for example, something that I believe we haven't performed too well, especially in Europe, is on AI. So when the regulation is too intensive, prior to the innovation really being able to be adopted or developed into a level or a platitude that is really providing clarity into the ways that it will scale to the masses. So for example, when we look at energy though, and basically energy or alternative energy adoption, we have been a lot more successful in that in the EU. If we look at Germany's target of having 80% of their energy consumption be based on renewables or alternative energy, more ESG-friendly energy methods by 2030. If we look at some of the mandates even from the corporate sector that they're pushing as it pertains to, let's say, more ESG-friendly solutions, development schemes, even fashion brands we work with, that their manufacturing capacities and a lot of the collections they're rolling out are more and more ESG-friendly. But to come kind of full circle on this topic of regulation is, it's a very fine dance. If there's too much regulation, it can kill the private sector or the free market economy from helping develop and pursue innovation in a way that can augment human prosperity. That's my kind of key terminology for today. But in the other end of the day, there's always that fine balance of hearing what the private sector needs, what the end consumer needs, and making sure that over-regulation doesn't kill or drive away human capital, knowledge, and innovation to other regions. Because in the end of the day, we tend to forget this, but markets, what has made us leaders of economy here in the EU and the US over the last 40, 50, 60 years is our in-house, or let's say nationally based talent, knowledge. So we need to continuously nurture that to enable them to thrive and thrive here in this locale. Because today, mobility at a global scale is very flexible. If we do not provide very business-friendly environments for people within innovation over regulation, they're just going to move elsewhere. We're seeing this not just in the energy sector and in AI, but also in areas like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. So this is a theme that transpires across all areas of human prosperity. And with that, once again, I have to excuse myself. Thank you to the fellow panelists. Thank you for the time
Omeed.
today.
You are very interesting, really, and this topic is very interesting, but I know you have to go. Have a safe flight.
Thank you.
And see you next time.
See you guys very soon. Thank you for having me.
I would like to start with some data because I think it's very important to be aware of the goals that the European Union set for the renewables and for the energy transition, because these goals are obligatory for the countries of the region as well, because Western Balkan countries are contracting parties of energy community. So what data are we talking about? In 2021, European Union set its Fit for 55 strategy with the goal of the share of renewables in total energy consumption of 32%. Then a year later, only a year later, because of the energy crisis and everything, that goal was set for 40%, so till 2030. And finally, last year in November, European Union set even more ambitious goal, and it is 45% of renewables in total share of energy consumption, so till 2030. So we are talking about huge changes, huge transformation. And of course, I would like to emphasize, and we are all aware of that the region is very highly dependent on fossil fuels, especially coal. So we are talking about massive changes and sometimes painful changes. So I would like to start with Mr. Bulatović. In fact, in the light of the keynote from Mr. Lorkovsky and the view of Energy Community Secretariat, in fact, they recently highlighted the need for the government of Montenegro to announce the date for shutting down a thermal power plant Pljevlja. And it will not be an easy task because Pljevlja contributes about 40% in total electricity production for Montenegro. So can you tell me, as a CEO of Elektroprivreda Crne Gore, some details and expected results for Elektroprivreda Crne Gore? I know that you have a project of modernization of thermal power plant Pljevlja in order to be aligned with the EU environmental standards and in order to to extend the life cycle of the power plant. So, yes. What's going on?
Thank you on this very interesting question because, you know, first of all, it's my pleasure to be here. It's the second year row for my presence here, so it is really pleasure and to be here, and it is my really honor. Second, on your question is, like I said, it's a very interesting question because everybody talks about renewables and shares renewables in total consumption and total production of energy. But how to say, it is not easy to tackle, let's say, with all the challenges regarding the coal with fossil fuels. So fossil fuels, like you said, it's something which is our reality. And today we have 40% producing by thermal power plant Pljevlja, depending on coal. So what is the strategy? Strategy is that we could provide more and more renewables in our system. We are dealing with a lot of renewables projects in Montenegro. I will talk maybe later about all these projects, but we have to face, of course, with thermal power plant and future of thermal power plant. Not only the thermal power plant, is also all the municipality of Pljevlja is depending of that, I will say, that plant. So national energy and climate plan will give us the date of phase call out. It is, I will just mention that Germany, which is much more developed country than Montenegro, is set 2038 phase out coal date year. So we are, let's say, we think that this year could be postponed for our countries because all the Balkan is depending on fuel or fossil fuels. Also, we need very stable source of the energy because of connecting all these renewables. So it's very hard to achieve the mix of renewables and stable without coal in this moment in Montenegro. Of course, Ministry also mentioned on the panel before that our strategy is hydropower plants. It is unfortunately there is still big potential, hydro potential in Montenegro, which is not discovered and developed. So we will focus on that in the future. But anyhow, what you are asking is ecological reconstruction of thermal power plant, which is started a few years ago. In 2025, we expect to finish that. With that project, we will be fully aligned with EU legislatives and rules about the environmental social impact. So we think that with this we will prolong lifespan of our thermal power plant, and after that it's also worth to mention that we started with this project. We started also project of district heating of municipality of Pljevlja, which is very important because, as you know, that 2.5 million emissions of CO2 is our target and only half is producing by our thermal power plant. So additional half is producing by, I will say, black spots in Pljevlja, in north of the country, because of the heating, boiler, and so on. It's biomass. It's something which is. So with this project of district heating, we hope that we will make a smaller number of the emissions of CO2, and with that, all this respect, we think that we can prolong some time of the some years of the lifespan of the thermal power plant.
Okay, thank you very much. My next question, well, when we are talking about challenges, or should I say difficulties, I would like to ask Mr. Mjeku, so in the light of significant challenges that Kosovo will face, because we know that Kosovo is especially dependent on the coal, so electricity production in Kosovo is almost solely from the coal. So how you will balance this need for cleaner energy and targets that you have also set with these let's say difficulties, because you have to think about energy security, you have to think about electricity import requirements in the future, possible social consequences. So everything that goes with the shutdown of thermal power plants that are using coal.
Well, hello everyone. The Republic of Kosovo has adopted an ambitious but realistic and implementable energy strategy. We are cognizant of the trilemma of the day, so there's supply security, affordability, and decarbonization. It's like a triangle, and we're committed to all 3 points. And to use a military metaphor, since this is Dom Vojske, we have mobilized the energy sector to encircle the triangle. So now for a long time, we took a very linear path to affordability, and this is how we got here. So we had plenty of coal, and we still have it, probably more than everybody else per capita. Yeah. And we have 2 large power plants that can produce a lot of electricity, and then we kept the prices low because we wanted to help the people, but we were hurting them in a way because we encouraged everyone and we removed incentives to use other sources of energy and to actually use efficient equipment. So most energy is actually used for heating and cooling and everywhere, but we particularly relied on electricity for our heating and cooling demands, especially in the winter and summertime. So we got to the point where 60% of our electricity, or energy in general, was being used by the household sector. So this is not a very good indication. And then we have the visitors that come in wintertime and summertime, and they drive up demand to the point where our own production will not meet it, and we need to rely on imports. This is now changing, fortunately, because we are focusing heavily on energy efficiency measures. So this is one way to tackle the problem. And we've spent millions primarily helping the public sector, but now working with the residential sector too, to subsidize efficient equipment. So we started out in 2022 with the first pilot with the residential sector, where we gave away 5 million euros to citizens to subsidize the purchase of efficient equipment. About 10,000 people actually benefited from the scheme. And the results now, since some time has lapsed, the results are very encouraging. Those that bought biomass equipment have saved up to 40% in their electricity bill. Others with thermal pumps have saved up to 20%. So this is very encouraging. And now this year and last year we rolled out other schemes with up to 75 million euros that we received from the European Union to help with the effects of the energy crisis. But 35 million of those funds allocated specifically for energy efficiency measures, whether it's home envelopes insulation, whether it's purchase of efficient equipment again, or reaching out to the private sector to small, medium, and actually micro, small, and medium enterprises for efficient equipment. this is, I think, the biggest initiative so far. But it is coupled with investments in renewables. We have to integrate renewables as much as possible. By year 2031, we'll have 1,600 megawatts of capacities installed. So far, we've had a successful solar auction for 100 megawatt solar plant, and we have just signed an agreement with IFC, which will be our transaction advisor for a 150 megawatt wind project, and we also signed a financing agreement for a 100 megawatt solar plant, which will be built at the site of a former coal mine. So this is also a great symbol of the transition that we are pushing forward with our work at the Ministry of Economy. I think there's more to say, I guess, in how we're tackling the issue in general, but leave it for the later discussions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, region is really changing. Just comparing 3 years ago, these are massive, massive changes. Okay, so we heard about challenges. There are challenges, obviously, but challenges, as always in life, always, in fact, impact new opportunities, open new opportunities and possibilities. So let's talk about possibilities and opportunities for new as well as existing businesses. Therefore, my question is for Natalija. In fact, could you elaborate on the strategic decision for Sims M&E and Sims Engineering? So you joined forces and combined forces and established new company, Obnovljivi Izvori Energije, that is completely dedicated to new energy solutions and renewable projects. So can you tell us more about that strategic decision? Was that a good decision? I would say yes, because you have a lot of new renewable projects, and what's going on with that?
Dobar dan svima, ja ću govoriti na našem jeziku. Svjedoci smo vremena kada imamo odliv mozgova sa naših prostora. Činjenica je da mladi ljudi, posebno visokoobrazovani ljudi, odlaze iz naše zemlje i iz regiona. Gledajući te trendove koji nam se baš i ne sviđaju, odlučili smo da osnujemo kompaniju Obnovljivi izvori energije zajedno Sims Engineering and System EMEA, da udružimo svoje resurse, da udružimo svoje znanje, da iskoristimo svoje iskustvo koje u obnovljivim izvorima energije gradimo još od 2003. godine pa na ovamo. Tako da imamo dugu istoriju, iskustva, znanja, procjene potencijala, realizacije energetskog potencijala kroz projekte. Imamo mnogo projekata u svojoj istoriji koje smo ne samo počeli, nego i završili. Smatramo da je veoma važno u sadašnjem vremenu, trenutno cijeli Balkan priča o energetici i svi su nekako u nekim energetskim granama i svi razvijaju projekte, ali ajmo da vidimo ko te projekte završava, možemo li da ih završimo, možemo li da ih dovedemo do mreže i možemo li da imamo krajnji proizvod kao što je električna energija iz obnovljivih izvora energije i smanjenje emisije CO2 kao dva ključna proizvoda. Tako da to je bila osnovna strateška ideja da se udružimo i da razvijamo projekte ispred naše kompanije kao što su solarna elektrana u Predišu, teritorija prijestolnice Cetinje i kao što je vjetropark Bijela na teritoriji opštine Šarnik.
Okay, thank you. I will speak in English because of our guests, foreign guests. Anyhow, speaking about opportunities, my question for Kenan is about your strategic decision. In fact, you are coming from oil industry, and we can see on global level that oil companies are really restructuring themselves in a way that they are investing in renewables, in some other low carbon technologies like green hydrogen. So they want to become, and they are becoming energy companies instead of oil companies. So can you tell us more about Hifa Oil? Because you have some renewable energy projects and initiatives, especially under Eurosolar initiative or program. And Can you tell us a little bit more about how you see the role of Hifa oil in Bosnia and Herzegovina's renewable energy sector?
Hvala ti, Nela, prije svega. Evo ja ću, pošto mi prvi put govoriti na bosanskom jeziku. U samom uvodu, evo, objasnio bih da je Hifa oil od svog početka, odnosno osnitka 2002. godine pa do 2021. godine kada smo se odlučili ući u energetsku tranziciju bila originalno naftna kompanija, privatna bosansko-hercegovačka naftna kompanija koja je prisutna u našem kompletnom regionu, odnosno na svim tržištima XU. I evo, kao što ste i sami rekli i kao što vidimo na globalnom nivou, da je jednostavno strategija naftnih kompanija, ja bih to nazvao i prirodan tok dešavanja, da naftne kompanije tranzitiraju u energetske kompanije, budući da su i nafta i električna energija, energenti i berzanski proizvodi koji se jako slično ponašaju na vanjske uticaje i to je neki prirodan slijed događaja i naravno i mi u diversifikaciji poslovanja i disperziji rizika odlučili smo se da pratimo tu strategiju i da idemo u tom pravcu. Naša vizija u samom početku bila je trgovina i proizvodnja električne energije i u vezi sa tim mi smo našu strategiju razvili, odnosno ona se sastoji od 4 sektora. Prvi sektor koji smo nazvali Eurosolar je osnovan 2021. godine, čiji zadatak, odnosno primarna uloga jeste da se bavi distribucijom i veleprodajom opreme za električnu energiju i jedan od glavnih ciljeva tog projekta jeste bilo da mi zaista osjetimo pravu potražnju, da osjetimo tržište, da osjetimo kolika je to aktuelna potražnja regiona u kojem smo prisutni sa ovim projektom, odnosno Hrvatske, Bosne i Crne Gore. Nedugo zatim uvidjeli smo da sama distribucija opreme neće zadovoljiti u potpunosti tržište, budući da veliki broj investitora se prvi put susreće sa takvim vrstama projekata i oni su uglavnom pribjegavali full servisu, kompletnom rješenju po principu ključ u ruke i mi smo na bosansko-hercegovačkom tržištu 2022. osnovali Hifa Oil Solar Team, EPC kompaniju koja se bavi projektovanjem, izgradnjom i puštanjem u rad solarnih elektrana. Naravno, u samom početku, što nisam napomenuo, cilj nam je bio da ponudimo tržištu sve na jednom mjestu. I kao kruna tog našeg procesa i naravno ono što želimo da bude sutra naš core biznis je trgovina električnom energijom. U vezi s tim 2022. godine pokrećemo treći sektor u okviru Hifa Oila koji se zove Europower, to je trgovina električnom energijom. Željeli smo da investitoru ponudimo od opreme, inženjeringa, puštanja elektrane u rad do samog otkupa električne energije. Naravno, u sve to smo mi uspjeli da konektujemo i finansijske institucije i banke kroz PPA ugovore koje smo obezbeđivali investitorima i bukvalno smo im još dodatno olakšali taj proces s kojim su se većina njih prvi put susretali. Ono što želim istaći u samom segmentu trgovine električnom energijom, a mislim da će tu jako puno reći i o bosansko-hercegovačkom tržištu, odnosno koliko se tu zapravo gradi obnovljivih izvora energije, jeste da smo mi od 2022. godine do danas potpisali ugovor sa preko 500 proizvođača obnovljivih izvora energije uglavnom su to solarne elektrane, jednim dijelom hidroelektrane, jednim dijelom gasne elektrane. Znači za nepune 2 godine preko 500 proizvođača.
Govorimo o PPA ugovorima?
Ne, to su uglavnom jednogodišnji ugovori, imamo i nekoliko PPA ugovora, ali to su uglavnom elektrane manjih kapaciteta megavat do 5 megavata gdje nismo pribjegavali, nije bilo ni potrebe zbog veličine objekta za PPA ugovorima, ali mi je bilo fascinantno da zaista ogroman broj solara i naravno što je ohrabrujuća vijest u svemu tome. I četvrti sektor u okviru te naše energetske tranzicije jeste proizvodnja koja se opet sastoji iz 2 dijela, znači imamo proizvodnju za vlastitu potrošnju, budući da u grupaciji imamo nekoliko kompanija koje su proizvodno orijentisane i orijentisane ka izvozu. Mi smo instalirali solarne elektrane na ta postrojenja kako bi i prije svega reducirali troškove električne energije i sutra bili spremni za CBAM kada dođe. I drugi segment proizvodnje električne energije je proizvodnja električne energije u komercijalne svrhe, budući da smo trader, bilo nekako kompatibilno da imamo i svoju vlastitu proizvodnju. I upravo sada radimo na jednom značajnom projektu u Hercegovini, instalisane snage 60 MW, riječ je o solarnom parku u blizini Mostara. Svu legislativu i papirologiju i sve dozvole smo završili i nadamo se u naredna 2 mjeseca da ćemo početi sa fazom gradnje tog projekta.
Okay, great. These are great news.
Thank you very much.
For Bosnia and Herzegovina. Well, the second round of questions, I hope it will be, well, we have to be faster a little bit. So I would like to ask Natalija about one topic that is, I think, very, very important, and that is collaboration with local communities, municipalities, and other stakeholders. So, in fact, experience show that it is very important to have good collaboration with local communities, because if you don't have it, then it is even possible that these renewable energy projects will never start, although developed and looks great on the paper. So can you tell us more about Obnovljivi Izvori Energije and your project, in fact, we can say in innovative endeavor, solar power plant on Čevo, because you have to span across terrain of Cetinje Mountains. So can you tell us what's going on there and how you will combine, how you will balance between environmental risks for that very sensitive mountain area and, of course, profitability as it is the main driver of any business endeavor?
Solarna elektrana koju razvijamo ispred kompanije Obnovljivi izvori energije zove se Prediš i instalisana je snage 227,8 MW pika. Rasprostirat se na površini od nekih 490 hektara. Većina te površine, na 90% te površine ljudska noga nije ni kročila. Znači, kao što ste rekli, to su kamenitije, teren. U skladu sa zakonskom regulativom koju imamo u Crnoj Gori, mi ne možemo da gradimo solarne elektrane na kategoriji zemljišta od 1. do 4. Tako da smo automatski u toj kategoriji zemljišta koje nije obradivo zemljište, koje je teško iskoristivo za neku drugu svrhu. Uticaj na životnu sredinu i komunikacija sa lokalnom zajednicom i njihovo zadovoljstvo nam je strašno važno. I dolaskom u tu regiju, koja ne znam zašto drugo bi se moglo možda nešto iskoristiti, znači ti ljudi koji su tu zemlju dali pod zakup ili kupovinu ili su je prodali, oni imaju mogućnost za neku svoju egzistenciju sad u ovom budućem vremenu, jer te zakupnine ili kupovine zemljišta su na 30 godina i duže, tako da, a površina je, kao što sam rekla, strašno velika. Što se tiče ovog projekta, projekat smo razvijali, znači prvo smo mjerili sunčev potencijal, zatim smo uradili glavni projekat, završena je revizija, predati na građevinsku dozvolu i očekujemo je svakog dana. U sklopu kompletne te procedure pribavljena je ekološka saglasnost. Ekološka saglasnost je podrazumijevala izradu nultog stanja, posmatranje biodiverziteta, javne rasprave. Na tim javnim raspravama upravo su učestvovale lokalne zajednice na čijem će se prostoru raditi ta elektrana, tako da su sve vrijeme bili uključeni i ti ljudi na tim javnim raspravama jednostavno bili su oduševljeni da takav neki projekat dolazi u njihovo mjesto, jer kada projekat počne sa izgradnjom, to je neki proces koji će trajati par godina, 2-3 godine i bit će najmanje. I to će biti mogućnost, ljudstvo će da funkcioniše na tom terenu. I narod koji tamo živi, iako ga je malo, imaće mogućnost da razvije neke biznise makar za taj period i možda da obezbijedi sebi egzistenciju za ostatak godina. Tako da veoma vodimo računa o ekološkoj sredini, bilo šta da gradimo, uticaj na životnu sredinu moramo imati, ali se trudimo da on bude minimalan i da vodimo računa o društvenoj odgovornosti, o socijalnoj odgovornosti i ekološkoj odgovornosti. Tako da to je naša vizija i misija naše kompanije.
Great. Kenan, would you like to add something about, in fact, role of Eurosolar, so program within Hifa Oil and your relationships with local community? And generally, role of Eurosolar, how you see it in a long term in Bosnia and Herzegovina?
Pa ovako, želio bih naglasiti da u ovom momentu na tržištima na kojim radimo i na kojima smo prisutni imamo jako dobru saradnju sa lokalnom zajednicom i zaista ne mogu istaći još nijednu situaciju u kojoj smo bili prisutni da je ona završila onako kako mi to nismo željeli. Ono kako mi vidimo Eurosolar, odnosno kako mi prije svega vidimo Hifa Oil kao nosilac kompletnog tog projekta i kompletne te tranzicije, je definitivno trgovina električnom energijom, budući da smo mi traderi. Naftnim derivatima smatramo da u narednih 7 godina, odnosno naša strategija, da u narednih 7 godina core business kompanije postane trgovina električnom energijom. I u vezi sa tim smo već postali punopravan član Srbijanske berze električne energije SIPEX-a, čekamo pristup Cropexu, u procesu smo također pristupa Hupexu, tako da u narednih par godina Eurosolar i Hifa Oil će definitivno biti prije svega trader električnom energijom. Naravno, ono što bih ja želio istaći i što smatram da je za većinu investitora bitno kada smatramo šta je to perspektiva i budućnost, imaju 3 stvari koje su perspektiva i budućnost. Proizvodnja, proizvodnja i proizvodnja. Budući da smo u regionu koji još uvijek dominantno se snabdijeva iz fosilnih goriva, budući da se nalazimo u regionu gdje još uvijek je, barem u Bosni i Hercegovini i u regionu je slično, još uvijek se izvozi električna energija, a ne uvozi, znači da mi imamo proizvodnju iz tih fosilnih goriva. Jednog dana ta proizvodnja će biti nekonkurentna i samo po sebi morat će da se gasi.
Especially after carbon pricing.
Yes. Taj moment kad dođe, ako ga ne dočekamo spremni, mislim da je ovo možda i prvi put da imamo situaciju da ravnopravno učestvujemo i da smo, da kažem, frontline sa ostalim zemljama Evrope, pogotovo zato što imamo, evo, kao što i Natalija rekla, i projekti koji oni radi, imamo izuzetnu prednost kompetitivnu u odnosu na ostali dio Evrope i zaista želio da to iskoristimo na najadekvatniji i najbolji način.
Great, thank you. It was optimistic and I hope we will end this panel with optimism, but let me ask another 2 questions, one for Mr. Bulatović. In fact, so you are CEO of a state-owned company, right, that is definitely dominant in electricity market of Montenegro, and you are the main producer and provider or supplier of electricity. So you are also engaged in new renewable energy projects. On the other hand, the government of Montenegro announced strategic partnership with the biggest French energy company, electricity company, EDF. So how you see the position of Elektroprivreda Crne Gore, especially in electricity market making, because without electricity market, all these projects will not be efficient. We need efficient electricity market. So how you see your role?
Thank you. I see EPCG like a key leader, let's say, in energy sector in Montenegro. As you said, it's a small country with one supplier so far. So we have only EPCGs, and we are very interesting also because of everything what we said before about CBAM, about phase call out and so on. It's a really, we are fully oriented to the renewables, and our all projects, let's say, in investment plan are renewables. So we have really, I will say like that, ambitious plan that in next 4 or 5 years we will invest 400 million euro in beside the ecological reconstruction in Pljevlja, which is in amount 85 million euro, which is a big amount. So beside this, we started with wind power plant Gvozd, 54.6 megawatts with annual production of 150 gigawatt hours for our let's say new clean energy for our households. So beside that, we also, you know that we are maybe a leader in the region about prosumers in solar power plants on the rooftops of the households. Today we have maybe 4,000 prosumers, which is a really big amount of that, with 40 megawatts installed on the roof capacity, and with all legislation which will be adopted in the future. I think that this is a really great achievement in future. So also we have two big projects in solar power plants, 40 megawatts near the Slano Lake, and 40 megawatts in steel factory Željezara with battery storage, which is like we all hear today, that without, let's say, balancing energy, the system will be jeopardized in somehow with all this penetration of renewables in the future. So EPCG is, let's say, we all agree that is a key leader in the energy sector. We have to adopt all the new trends, let's say, with the renewables. We accepted that, and we are working hardly on achievements of 50 or 45 or 55% of the diversification of the production portfolio of EPCG. You know that still 40% is of all the production is from thermal power plant, but in the future years we are sure that we can provide more and more sources, renewable sources, energy from renewable sources. And once again, before also was a story about the market coupling, which is also very important for us. We heard that market coupling can let's say, postpone the application of CBAM, which is for us very important, and that's why we are also very interesting and included in all process with market coupling with Italy, with one neighboring EU country. With you know that we are connected with Italy with submarine cable, energy connected with submarine cable. So it is from our great perspective that and great importance that that in future we have to have a market coupling with Italy. Also, it is EPCG. All this in due respect, all these renewables are very important for us. Private investors are also very important, but EPCG should also have a position to be off-taker of these private investors, and because we are aware that capacity for transmission is it will be very hard to get, and also it will be very expensive, and that's how all these private investors in the future should be oriented to, and will be oriented to, the EPCG like a domestic supplier, and that's why in that context we have to position EPCG like an off-taker for the future.
Yeah, in fact state-owned companies really concentrate all skills, expertise and resources, so that's why of course your role will be huge as in any country. I mean, state-owned companies are really the crucial elements of electricity markets in any country. And I would like to finish with Mr. Mjeku and with the green agenda of Kosovo. So Kosovo also set energy strategy till 2031, and your goals are quite ambitious. So you would like to, you plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions for 32% at least, and at least 35% of electricity consumption from renewables. So what are your plans, how you will do that, and do you have maybe some strategic partnerships with foreign investors, because it will require huge investments in energy sector, definitely.
Yes, by 2031.
I'm improvising a little bit, as you can see.
It's perfectly fine. By 2031, we surely intend to have 1,600 megawatts of renewables capacities installed. And in the midterm, we've rolled out a pipeline worth 1.2 billion euros. That will include 950 megawatts of generation and storage capacities. It's very important to actually balance a system.
Yeah, storage. We didn't
sure,
speak about storage, but this is crucial.
Yes, and very soon we'll be launching the huge batteries project, around 240 million in costs, mainly financed by the United States Millennium Challenge Corporation, but also with our own co-contribution. So this is a very significant project among other endeavors to transition to green technology, but primarily to take care of the environment and serve our citizens and the industry. You mentioned strategic cooperation with investors. I think the projects that I listed in my previous statement are a great indication of that. Our first renewables auction was a great success. So I remember before the energy crisis, I was the lawyer representing plaintiffs in a strategic litigation case against feed-in tariffs. There was a time when the feed-in tariffs were good, but then we needed to phase them out and use market mechanisms. At the time, the tariff was 85.5 euros per megawatt. Now we have brought it down with market forces, okay, with free competition to 48.88 per megawatt of solar or photovoltaic energy. So this is the first step. Concurrently, I mentioned the 100 megawatt solar plant with the this is the public sector with the state-owned company that operates the power plants. So now they have to develop and diversify. And I mentioned the new auction for wind. Now the focus you see is on solar and wind. And this is primarily because of the environment. We have not ruled out water or hydro capacities, but we've had sad stories in the past where in the name of renewables, actually, the environment was irreversibly damaged. So we want to make sure that we are using our scarce resources properly and that we are conducting all the necessary feasibility studies and environmental impact assessments as provided by EU legislation. Now, this is a statement I make every time I meet potential investors. If a project is good in France, then it's probably good in Kosovo too. If you cannot do it in France because of environmental or other legislative constraints, then you should probably not seek Kosovo as a venue. And the reason is because ultimately we're bound by the same EU values and legislation. Our aspiration to join the EU is greatest commitment to the environment too. Now there are people who might want the EU to do more on the environment too. I recognize that, but this is quite ambitious coming from a country that still relies heavily on coal. So we're phasing out coal eventually, but protecting the environment and making sure that we are in line with EU values. Just recently we were discussing with colleagues from the Environment Ministry on how to best transpose and fully transpose EU legislation such as habitats or the birds directive, so and the water directives too. So this is, I think this is a very significant commitment, and we are working steadily to make sure that we can provide a better life for our citizens. We can support businesses, but always preserve and protect the environment for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I would like to thank my interesting guests today. Thank you for your attention. I know it was not easy so late without lunch. Thank you.